This is Alex Thorn, Love Lost. Hello there, and welcome back to another episode of Chit Chat, the encouraging one another podcast. Here we are, Season 3. Overall, this is episode number 68, and if you missed the first show of 2033, go back and check it out. It was a who's who of songs from musicians I've had on this podcast, and over an hour and a half of amazing music. So next time you're in the car running errands to and from, and kids and activities, check it out. Amazing music. Let's keep rolling today. Today's episode, my guest comes from Chicago, Illinois. He wrestled from 2008 to 2012 in the Midwest area. He has been featured in a wrestling document called The Rise and Fall of the UWC. In 2014, he was a Rookie Trainer of the Year in Chicago and currently he is on his EP set to release in February of this year. He's also written a memoir, autobiography, in 2017. He has played in such bands as A Rose, The Cause, Dangerous Hope, Hidden Truth. He has been inspired by Kiss and Dokken and Crash Diet and looks to bring a fresh tone with its 80s flair to the rock scene. Can't wait to talk to him today. Ladies and gentlemen, my guest, Mr. Alex Thorn, here on the Chit Chat Encouraging One Another podcast. What's always about encouraging others. After re-listening to this podcast, I noticed there are some glitches in it. And I tried tweaking some things and editing a few things, but there were some glitches I just couldn't fix. So I just really wanted to apologize in advance for those glitches. And I just didn't want to delete this interview with Mr. Alex Thorn. And so I hope you enjoy it. I hope you enjoy this episode. It's not the best, but I hope you enjoy it. This is Chit Chat. Perfect timing, huh?
Yes, sir.
Are you constantly on the go?
I am. And I try to be. That's the thing. I try to do it on purpose.
Sweet. Ladies and gentlemen, I'd like to welcome Mr. Alex Thorn, a man of many hats. And we'll discuss some of those today here on the Chit Chat Encouraging One Another podcast. I love for your free time, first of all. I really appreciate it. We'll take a few minutes out of your busy day. Before we dive into some great conversations, I love just picking the with some questions.
I do. I'm always thinking. Let's go.
Think about the keys. They have 5 kinds of tacos. So we're going to ask 5 questions. First of all, do you like some tacos?
Yeah, I do, man. I definitely do. Shrimp tacos.
Okay. Is there a local taco shop in the Chicago area you love?
There is, man. There's one called El Cid, right down the street from me, man. I love them. They're great.
First question: yourself in 3 words. What would they be?
Driven, handsome, and critical.
Critical. Gotcha.
Yep, because I'm very critical thinking. I always think everything through and try to see all the avenues that can come out of a situation.
Okay. What was your first record or for you be cassette or CD that you ever owned, and what group inspired you to be a singer? So a 2-part question.
Right. First record. Oh, okay. No, Dan, thank you for taking me back in time. My first record is actually Will Smith, Big Willie Style.
Okay.
Yeah. So that was my first CD that I asked my mom to buy me at the local Coconuts CD shop. And the singer who inspired me to sing, Paul Stanley from Kiss.
Paul Stanley. You ever see Kiss in concert?
Yes, sir. That's my first concert, and that's overall my favorite band of all time, man.
Nice. Number 3, if you have an endless supply of any food, it never goes bad, what would it be? Why?
It's funny because I instantly want to say Chinese food, but Kung Pao chicken. Let's just narrow it down to one.
Okay.
It's good, man. You've got everything. You got your vegetables, you got your chicken, you've got your carbs in the noodles, and usually comes with rice. So I don't know if we're gonna do that, but either way, you get everything. You get protein, carbs, and fat all in one meal. So that's why I choose that.
Chicken. I try it everywhere. Some places are not that good.
Right.
I like the kick to it.
And it's cool to like go to different places and order the same thing and just see how everyone makes it different.
Yeah, for sure. especially local spots or locally owned. I think they really put a little more TLC. So I think I love trying that out.
Yeah, absolutely.
Question number 4: what have you ever had and why?
The worst job I ever had was I worked at McDonald's for a whole total of 2 hours and 47 minutes before I got fired.
What did you do?
So they put me on the fry. No, it's cool, man. They put me on the fries, right? And I serve up the fries, whatever. And the lady comes back with a big attitude saying, "I want fresh fries." And I'm like, "These are fresh." And she's just like, "No, they're stale. I want fresh fries." And I reiterate, they're fresh. I just made them. I just put them on there. And we're going back and forth. So then I took a bite of one of the fries that was on her tray, and she lost it, brother. She lost it. Where's the manager? Holy son. And then but that wasn't the only reason I got fired. The other part about it is that they asked me to wear a hairnet, and because I was 17, 18 years old, I don't look cool with a hairnet. I can't cover this head of hair with a hairnet. So I wasn't wearing
hairnets, dude.
So I wasn't wearing a hairnet when it was required. And then the manager goes, "Alex," in front of the lady. She goes, "Alex, did you eat a fry off of this woman's tray?" And before I answered her, I took a sip through the straw. I was drinking a milkshake while on the job, and she looked at me and she goes, "That's not her milkshake, is it?" I was like, "No, it's mine. You're not supposed to be drinking anything or eating anything on the job." And I took another sip, and she looked at me and she goes, "Alex, I'm sorry, you're fired." And I immediately asked her, I said, "Okay," because she had a soft spot for me because I had been going there for years.
Mm-hmm.
And I asked her, I said, "Can I have a chicken sandwich?" And she looked at me, she laughed, and she goes, "Yes, go ahead." And she threw up her hands, and I took off the McDonald's gear. I went around and I got in the line. And so that was my consolation prize. I got a check for 2 hours and 47 minutes, and I got a free chicken sandwich.
That's about the best story I've ever heard. That's awesome. All right, last question. What band would you be embarrassed to admit you listen to, and why?
Maybe Nelson.
Willie Nelson?
No, his kids, Nelson, the twins.
Okay.
Yeah, see your reaction. You instantly went to Willie Nelson, and I'm like, "No, the less cool, the kids." Yes, sir. They were kind of considered a joke towards the end of the Hair era. They had hits like "After the Rain" and a couple other ones. So very popish.
In my opener, I record what you've been doing. But can you give everybody a little brief bio of who Alex Thorn is? That's more just a little brief about who you are.
Alex Thorn is a man who's traveled many, many roads. But I'm back to my original path, which is music. But in the meantime, even though that's where I started and ended, in that meantime, I became a professional wrestler for 5 years. I also became a personal trainer where I own 3 facilities in Chicago. And then after that, I became an author, published author, and now I'm back to music. But I'm always wearing and doing multiple things because I get bored quickly and I need something to diversify my my taste and my mind and all that stuff. So okay. I've done a lot of things, but overall, man, I'm an entrepreneur. I just chase my dreams. If I say today I want to do something, then most likely by the end of tomorrow, I'm going to be working on a plan to get there.
Nice. Sometimes people one if it doesn't work, I can't do that. And people always think you got to have an out, full avenues for moving forward.
Right.
Where were you?
Born and raised right here in Chicago, Illinois, all my life, man. 36 years here.
Wow. You're a man of many hats, but I heard through the grapevine your dream was to be a tap dancer.
That's right. It is. It's still weird to me to hear people like bring up certain aspects of my life, and I'm like, how the hell does this person know that? Oh, that's right, I wrote a book. And I forget that
I
sometimes.
know all kinds of lots of interviews, some podcast interviews. So yeah, Mr. Alex Thorn.
I appreciate that. That's awesome. Yeah, man, that was the first dream. I just watched. I believe it was an Arsenio. No, it was Showtime at the Apollo.
Okay.
That's what it was. We used to watch that every night, me and my mom.
Mm-hmm.
Yep. And I'm a young kid at the time, so I didn't know whether it was current or not. I'm seeing it on TV now. I didn't know tap dancing was something that was famous in the 40s, 50s, 60s. I'm 5 years old. I'm thinking this is something new.
Mm-hmm.
And I saw it, and it just looked like magic. And the guy looked like he was having a good time, and everybody in the crowd is oohing and eyeing. And I want to say that's the first time any live performer caught my eye, and so therefore I wanted to be a tap dancer. But I got two left feet, brother, so that wasn't going to work for me. Um, and I try to tap dance at my friends' birthday parties and make a fool out of myself. But man, I was a kid. It's all good.
That a few songs. That what I really love is the Shadows on the Night. That's a
Yeah.
song.
Thank you.
How do you get inspiration in writing songs? Come to mind or a beat? How does that work for you?
There's several different ways. Sometimes it's just a title. You write around the title. Sometimes you just have a rhythm, a riff in your head, and that's the first thing, and that exists, and you write off of that. In terms of Shadows of the Night, I was watching my buddy from the Mike Stover music podcast, the Stoverload music podcast with Mike Stover. He sent me out some VHSs that he bought because he knows I'm a big VHS fan. And one of them was Fright Night. And I hadn't seen Fright Night since I was a kid. And I'm watching it and I'm like, man, you know what? Suddenly it came to me. There's not enough songs about vampires, or at least not enough that I've heard.
Right.
And right after watching the movie, I went to my kitchen and wrote Shadows of the Night in maybe 25 minutes. And everything just fell into place and it came about real fast. But it's always an idea. I don't really write songs based off of experience. I try to envision what would this look like in a music video and a story. So like right now, I just got done with all of the music, laid down all of the music parts for a song called She Owns the Night. And I don't have any lyrics for it, but I know how I want everything to go. And for me, I instantly started thinking, okay, why does she own the night? Is it because of a breakup? Is it just, she's an Instagram chick? I got to come up with a good flowing story here so that every time I come back to that chorus that says she owns the night, I'm showing the reason why she's getting there. Right. So it's always a visual thing to me.
And you got started playing in rock bands at what, 15, 16, 17 years of age? What got you from the transforming to tap dancing to performing in rock bands?
I was 14 when I did my first show.
Wow.
I was 14 years old, and there was a whole big period there where I didn't know what I wanted to be. As a kid, it just, the future didn't make sense. But it was October 31st, 1998. It was Halloween, and I was geeked to watch Mad TV because Robert Englund, who's famous for playing Freddy Krueger, was going to host.
Yep.
And that's my whole reason for watching, brother. And the moment the show starts, these four guys come out in makeup and platform boots and all this stuff. And I'm like, oh, who's that? And they introduce him, and it's a band called Kiss. And I'm like in shock because I haven't seen anybody look like that since the Ultimate Warrior in the WWF in the early 90s.
Yep.
And to me, it was just like, there's human beings that could look like this. I mean, these guys look incredible. And the show goes on. And then afterwards, to my delight, because I'm just shocked at their visual, they announced that they're going to be showing Kiss live from Dodger Stadium right after Mad TV. And the moment they started doing the solo to Cycle Circus, which was the first opening song, I was hooked. That's it. I wanted to be a rock star going forward.
You have a mentor who give you advice in the music industry and kind of encourage you not to, you fell down a few times. It kind of helped you going, give a life in the music career?
No. No, no, because you know what? Nobody that I know has been anywhere I actually want to be.
Okay. When you're
Not
performing,
yet. So
go ahead.
yeah, not yet, man. As far as like as if you said a personal mentor, but Gene Simmons is probably the best person because he doesn't drink and he doesn't smoke and he hasn't gotten into any of those things. And I know the rock world has an opinion about him, but he's been business first all his life, and it's just kind of the same thing for me. Even though I was in bars since a young age, I'm not a big drinker at all. I've never been drunk in my life, and even at shows, I'm like a 3 drink maximum type of guy because I want to remember everything and I want to make a good impression for the next time that I get to be there and I'm invited back. So Gene Simmons, a lot of what he said just made sense to me overall. But in my personal life, no, man, I don't know anybody who's been where I want to be.
Have you ever met?
I have not. Oh wait, you know what? Take it back. Take it back. Take it back. I'm sorry. Yes, I did. I went to a KISS convention when I was 16 years old, and I met Bruce Kulick and Mark St. John before he passed away.
What was that like?
It was obviously forgettable because I forgot, but but they were cool dudes, man. It was like meeting anybody else. They're normal human beings. I was happier to meet Bruce Kulick because he is my favorite KISS guitarist of all time. And Mark St. John, it was just nice to see him because he's kind of like Paul described him. He's the Pope that's got nominated to be the Pope one day, and then you never saw him again. So.
Hey, when you're performing on stage, can you describe your style or vibe? I haven't seen you in concert, but we came to see you. What am I going to watch when I see Alex Thorn on stage?
I'm a beast up there, man. And I say that because I've always been told, how do you have so much energy when you're up there? When I was younger, I tried to, emulate guys like Yngwie Malmsteen and Vinnie Vincent and the fast guitar players. So what I ended up noticing was because, I've always been a good looking guy, there was more guys paying attention to me on stage because I was doing all the flashy solos. Mm-hmm. But there was the women weren't as impressed. So I was like, you know what? Let me switch this up. Let me give the other guitars, hey, you take on these solos and I'm going to do the rhythm guitar. And let me dance and do all my stuff. And once I saw that reaction from the women in the crowd, and suddenly from became and it was a high pitched scream. I was like, this is my deal. So I get up on stage, man. I pump the air. I rock my hair. I put up the fist, and I dance a lot, man. If you put the concert where you see me on mute, you don't know whether I'm on the dance floor in Studio 54 if I'm playing rock and roll because I'm dancing like crazy.
Do you have like an 80s? I noticed some of your attire, the bandanas and sunglasses. Mm-hmm. You consider yourself the 80s style you like, or something just?
Yes, sir. Okay. If I was as pretty as I used to be before I was a wrestler, I'd probably wear more makeup. But since I'm a little bit more beat up and I go to the gym a lot and I got a couple more lines on my face, now it's the bandana and the hair. It's going to grow out a little bit longer. I cut it not too long ago. And, the colors, man, I can't wait to like get pink gear on and red and black. And, black is common. It's easy to get, but I love wearing pink and white and blue and white and, the neon colors because it gets people talking. It gets people talking, and that's all you want. As long as you're on people's lips and you're not Bill Cosby, you're good.
I went to your Facebook feed and I saw a dear friend of yours. He looked like your brother almost, Jason David Frank, one of the original Power Rangers. You guys look like brothers. And it's sad to hear about his passing. Met him in person, or just like his looks?
We worked the same convention.
Okay.
1 year, and I want to say it was like 2014 or 15. I can't remember, but we were at the same convention. It was a Heroes and Villains convention. I was there for pro wrestling, and he was there obviously as himself and promoting the Power Rangers and so forth. And everybody, just kept coming up to me saying, oh my God, you look like Tommy from Power Rangers. He's right over there on the other side. And I was really happy about that because I really at that point I didn't think about Power Rangers for a
Mhm.
good 10, 12 years.
Right.
And I went over there and I saw him. I didn't get to meet him, but I saw him, and we kind of locked eyes at one point. And he put his hand up to me, and I put my hand up like that, and I was like, "Holy crap! Let me start looking this dude up again," because I forgot all about Tommy. And I looked him up. I was like, "Holy, we fucking." I'm sorry, I don't know if I can curse, but we look like twins. I couldn't believe it. We look like family members, man. And it's just, I looked at his photos and I was like, you know what? Some of his looks work well for me. If he looks good like that, then I'll look good like that. And to me, I didn't worry about it because he's in the Power Ranger, kind of the kid realm still, and I'm in
Hmm.
rock and roll. So it'll work for me, and nobody will really draw that line other than saying you guys look alike. But yeah,
Right.
man, his passing got me, man. That hurt. That really hurt.
Yeah. Sad. Um,
Yeah.
could you share about your book from 2017? And what is the
Hmm.
name of it? And what was your inspiration behind your book?
Ah. So the name of my book is "I Am Thorn: How I Broke the Chains of Mediocrity and Learned to Live to Win." And man, the inspiration was actually I was lost. There was a moment there after pro wrestling and after being a fitness trainer where I didn't know what to do. I had no idea what to do with my life, and I considered going back to wrestling, but it wasn't in my heart anymore. And that's a dangerous deal if you go back to something physical and you're not mentally there because you can get hurt easier.
Oh yeah.
Um, and then I was done with training completely. I was drained, so I didn't know where to go. I'm like, what do I do? And there was a couple friends I had on Facebook that were making books, and they were, I guess you can call them social media influencers or whatever. But outside of social media, I had never heard of them. But they were able to write their own books. And one of the guys, I can't remember his last name, but I know his first name is AJ. He was very positive. He was big, like I was, because I was once almost 300 pounds. He was 300 pounds. He lost all the weight and became a trainer. I lost all the weight and became a trainer.
Oh wow.
And I ordered his book and I read it, and it was maybe 100 pages, maybe. It was real short, and I was like, man, if this dude could do it, I can do it. I mean, no offense to AJ, but my life was more interesting than his. I felt like I've been down more roads than he has,
Hmm.
because a lot of his story was just about being overweight and being teased, and then suddenly finding the gym. I got all these things in between there, um, and so I started to write the book. It took a good 8 months, 8 to 9 months, uh, and it was a very cleansing experience because I can tell you right now, there's things that people tell me that they read from my book where I'm like, that happened to me. Oh, wait a minute, that did, because when I wrote some of these things down, it was like letting go.
Wow.
Yeah.
Kind of for you to kind of move forward with your career.
Yeah, 100%. It was very cleansing. I mean, I'll tell you this right now. I still get people that I talked about in my life calling me about the book, saying, how dare you write about me? How dare you write about this experience? I'm angry at you. And I'm like, I'm not angry at you. I wrote it in the book. I let it go.
Mm.
It's out there. I'm sorry, but I'm done. I'm done. I'm happy.
You kind of shocked about where your career has been, and wrestling as well. But you've kind of done almost everything, haven't you? What haven't you done?
I haven't been in movies yet.
Okay.
I've been in plays, but I haven't been in movies yet. But that's definitely something I'd love to get achieved one day, no doubt. Um, pro wrestling, man, that was one of those things that you always wanted to do. I think a lot of people, when they're young, I'd love to do that. That
Mm-hmm.
was one of those. You don't put any real thought into it. It almost feels like it's impossible or that's for somebody else. It's not for me, but if I could, I would. It was one of those things. And I fell into it, man. Even though I loved pro wrestling, I never pursued it, um, because I was born with a physical condition, a disability. Um, yeah, I've got EDS type 3, and so does my mother. And that type is it's very loose disconnected bones and loose tissue. So basically, I can fall apart very easily. Physically, I'm not. Yeah, it's very hard for me. And I'll tell you this: my mother, who didn't, I guess when she found out she was diagnosed with it, there wasn't as much resources or research available for you to do like we have now with the internet.
Mhm.
So she didn't take care of herself as well. And my mother, by 28, was walking with knee braces. By 35, she walked with a cane, and by 40, she was in a wheelchair.
Wow.
Yeah, and now she's completely, she's thankfully she's still alive and trying, but there's a lot of issues there, and that's easily the path I could have gone down because at 10, 12 years old, and so many doctor's visits that I had, they were telling me, don't pick up anything heavier than a gallon of milk, do not swim, and do not climb ladders. These were the instructions to me.
Wow.
And I followed that for a long time until I was suddenly in. I got a great story for you. I had a band called Dangerous Hope, and we booked a gig to play at a wrestling show. In the middle of the show, what is that called when they take a break?
Halftime.
Yeah, I guess you can call it halftime. Just call it that. There's another word. It's like it starts with an I. But
Okay.
we basically when the show's gonna take a break, and we're booked to play there. Intermission. There you go, brother. Thank you. So we were booked to play at intermission, and in typical rock and roll fashion, my band breaks up a week before the gig because my 25-year-old guitarist was sleeping with our 16-year-old drummer.
Oh boy.
Yeah, so we break up. So we get to the gig, and I'm the type of guy that if I'm going to deliver bad news or if I'm going to refuse an offer, I actually, if you're within reach, I'd like to go to you and tell you to your face, shake your hand, and tell you, I can't do something or it's not for me. So I go to the wrestling gig anyways, and I tell them, man, brother, I'm so sorry. The band broke up. Maybe I could do a solo for you, which is totally lame in the middle of a show. But I was like, maybe I can do a solo for you. And he goes, yeah, we'll figure out something. And this is the first time I've been this close to a wrestling ring, right? Because most of us, we buy tickets, we're up in the cheap seats. We're really far away. This thing is hundreds of feet away from us. But now I'm 10 feet away from a pro wrestling ring. And so since he's talking to somebody, he's doing all his business, I say, hey, brother, do you mind if I get in the ring and just roll around and do stuff? Yeah, go ahead. And I get in there and I start wrestling with the Invisible Man. Right, and I'm 5 years old again, man, and they're rolling around and taking bumps for somebody who's this imaginary guy who's punching me and kicking me and doing all this stuff. And whatever I did really caught the attention of the promoter because he goes, hey, Alex, wait right there. And I looked at him. I'm like, oh, crap. What did I do?
Yes.
He gets in the ring. Yeah, he gets in the ring. And this guy's the funny thing is I'm 5'9". He's 5'5", but he's got the big tough gut and his hands are really dry and cracked and hard. And he's got these big ham hock hands. And he goes, Alex, sell this punch, which is, act like it hurts you. So he punches me. Boom. He punches me a few more times, kicks me, takes me to the corner, starts working me over, choking me. And he's like, okay, you know how to run the ropes? No. He calls somebody else in there. The guy shows me how to run the ropes, 3 steps, turn, left foot forward, go back. Do it. So I do it. I do the exact same thing. You know how to take a bump, which is fall back on your back. Nope. Calls the guy in again. It's like you're slipping on a banana peel. One leg up, then the other one follows. And you land flat. I do it. You know how to go over the top rope? Oh, absolutely not. Again, he shows me the way to do it. So this is the thing. Remember, I just said he showed me how to run the ropes. He showed me how to take a bump. I do them easily. The guy he has in there that he calls in there show me how to go over the top rope, which is now, you're falling about, once your feet are in the air, you're falling about 8 feet to the ground.
Yep.
He suddenly just puts his hand. Ready? Okay. And he tosses me out of the ring. The moment I cleared it, did exactly what was shown to me. It only took once. All of it took one time. I'm on the floor. He looks at me and says, you want to be in the Battle Royal tonight? Absolutely, man. It's 5 years of my life was pro wrestling.
Wow. You look like wrestling.
I literally.
That's amazing. When you're
Yep.
wrestling, you have a nickname or a theme song when you end the ring, or how's that work?
Yeah. So at first they gave me the name. They were like, "We want to call you the Shock Rocker, Alex Thorn." Now I already had Alex Thorn because of my music career. I already wanted a cool name for that. So I had been called Alex Thorn around the music scene for about 3 years to that point.
Mm-hmm.
But they were like, "We want to make you the Shock Rocker." And they started telling me they got all these ideas to Photoshop me with like doing the rock and roll sign with a bunch of electricity going between my fingers. And I was like, ugh, like that doesn't sound cool. And the promoter was like, come on, man, I've had this character in my mind for years. You're the perfect guy for it. I don't want that, man. I don't want to be. I mean, I'm a rock and roller, but I don't want to play the stereotypical rock and roller in wrestling. And I was such a cocky young man. I really was. And you put me in that atmosphere where there's a bunch of honestly, there was a bunch of soft guys in that fed, and I felt like a lion. I felt like I could eat them all alive. And I remember saying, you know what? I've made it to the main event in 3 months. Why don't you call me main event Alex Thorn? Oh, the ego on you, man. I can't believe you. You're a newbie and you want to be called the main event? Yeah, I'm a bad guy. It'll give me heat. And so for about 7 months, 8 months of that first year, I was called the main event. And then they realized that I wasn't one of the type of guys to go out with the boys afterwards. And, because a lot of times you collect your paycheck afterwards. That's how they get you to, be part of the society. Hey, you're not receiving your paycheck until you go out to the bar with us. And I would never do it. I'll collect my paycheck next time. It's not a big deal. And so they started calling me Lone Wolf. And that became my name forever, Lone Wolf Alex Thorn. And it was easy for me, man, because it was true. And as far as the song, man, I would come in. I don't know if you've ever heard of the band Crash Diet.
Nope.
Okay, well, they're out of like Germany, Finland. They're a sleaze rock band, very much in the vein of Motley Crue. Motley Crue, LA Guns, Faster Pussycat, that kind. And they had a song called Falling Rain. And that was my entrance song for the longest time. And the coolest thing about that is that now I'm working with the guitarist of Crash Diet, Martin Sweet, on my EP that's due out next year.
Oh, wow. That's awesome.
Yeah, man.
I commend you. Great pressure. It's so easy to get you in there, have a few drinks, and do something stupid or foolish. I commend you in your life. You kind of watch P's and Q's, I guess.
Yeah, look, man, on a serious note about that, and a lot of people need to take heed of it, is that we live in a world where, I'm going to say this the right way. We live in a world where anybody could say anything about a man, and, his life can be turned upside down.
Yep.
So I knew that right away. I realized at 14, 15 years old, first of all, I wasn't supposed to be drinking because then I could possibly get the band in trouble. So they would tell me, hey, they would stick that thing, they put that little thing, the little wrap around my wrist and be like, he's under 18 or he's under 21, he can't drink. But all of the band members and the owners themselves would be like, hey, don't worry about it. That's just for legal purposes. Yeah, I get that. But at the end of the night, what I would always notice, and it stuck with me forever, which was I'm fully aware of everything that's going on. And the women who are, in their late 20s, all the way up to their, early 40s that I would see throughout all those years, they weren't. They were hammered. They were falling all over themselves. They were slurring their words. And I would always think to myself, man, I'm not like that right now. It wouldn't be cool for me to take advantage of this situation. It's not the right thing to do.
Yeah.
I want to stay straight because if I'm like this and she's not, anything could be said about me. And I knew that right away from a young age.
While you were still wrestling, were you constantly training and staying in shape and just?
No, opposite. opposite, man. I wish I would have. I wish I would have knew the secret of diet and training like everybody's been preaching for 50 years, but somehow that skipped me. No, man. Look. There's something called blown up, which is you're exhausted, right? You're out. You're fucking sucking wind out there. And I was blown up before the bell rang sometimes, just from my entrance.
Mm.
I was already, I was ready to take it home, man. Are we ready to end this match before the match even started? Uh, so, dude, sometimes, oh my God, you're bringing this up, and I don't really think about this stuff often, but you're making me flash back. But I would lock up with a guy. That's that first move that you lock arms with each other, you're head to head, and it's like two bulls battling. I kid you not, there would be times where I'd lock up with guys, and I would feel every bit of energy go from my head through my torso, out of my toes, and I was done right at the first move. I mean, everything else that happened after that would be a miracle. And the thing was, you're a product of your friends, right? You know how they say, the five people around you make up who you are.
Mm-hmm.
Well, the company that I was with, they didn't train. They didn't train their guys. They trained moves. They trained in the ring, but as far as diet and exercise was concerned, it was non-existent. They didn't feel that you needed to have a physical aspect to be a pro wrestler. And so, honestly, it hindered me a lot because with my condition that I have, it would have been a lot better off for me to have muscle. But no, like you bringing up fitness, that actually came about after pro wrestling. I felt that's something else I fell into because when I had traveled all around the Midwest, but then I decided to come back to my main company because I had unfinished business there. I didn't like the way I was let go after my first contract was up with them. They actually broke my ribs on purpose. And I wanted to come back and prove a point and do all this stuff. So I did that, and I also dedicated myself to them. So it gets to a point where the owner, whose father had passed away the previous year, told us, "Hey, the company's going to take a break. You're free to work, any companies you want during this period, but I need a break." And at that point, I said, "You know what? Here's the thing. I've been a bad guy for 3 years straight everywhere I go. Maybe now, while during this break, I can go to the gym, get in real good shape, film social media videos. Back then it was MySpace. Film social media videos and, show me working out. And when I come back to wrestling, I'll be this fit, buff guy and I'll be a baby face because I've been trying to, improve my health and improve my body." Well, guess what? That guy never came back. That break that he was taking from the company was completely shutting it down. He just didn't tell anybody. And through me working out, like I said, for this angle, for this, for this comeback, there was people telling me, "My God, man, you've made a big change really fast. Do you mind if I train with you? When are you going to train?" "Oh, today at 4:00. Can I come with you? You look amazing." And suddenly it was one guy and two guys and three guys. And since I'm used to branding everything all my life, I just was messing around. I threw up a graphic that said Thorn Fitness. And that same promoter who shut down the wrestling company commented and said, "What is this?" And I replied back to him and said, "The evolution of Thorn." And from that point forward, I started getting messages constantly. "Hey, how much do you charge for training? Hey, I'd love to train with you. I want to be a part of Thorn Fitness." And it wasn't a thing. It was just a graphic that I put up.
Right.
And so I started accepting money. And I started to be like, "Oh, well, maybe I should become a trainer." And I enrolled myself in the class for to be a personal trainer. And it just that took over the next 5 years of my life again. And suddenly I was owning one facility and a second facility in Chicago, and that became a third. And I became trainer of the year, rookie trainer of the year in Chicago. Again, it wasn't on purpose. It was just something that happened, and I ran with it.
I want to step back 1 second to the wrestling. You in a documentary, The Rise and Fall of the UWC. What is the UWC? You can share a little bit about the documentary as well.
Yeah, for sure. That documentary was made by One Fall Media, and he actually used to work. The head of One Fall Media worked with UWC for a very short period. I want to say the first 6 months they were around. Went off and did his own thing, but then he came back, and I guess he poked around and said, has there ever been, the story of UWC? No. And I had a bunch of footage from there. In fact, while everybody else was paying for training, I didn't have to pay because I was like, hey, I will film every single event and edit it and do your social media presence if you let me slide on the payment for training. So I had all of the footage from the first year and a half that I was there, or actually the first year I was there.
Mm-hmm.
And then the rest of it could be collected. And so we worked together really closely. I took everything I had from all these old hard drives, threw it on a hard drive for him, sent it out to him in California. And the thing about UWC that makes it so special that I don't even think the owners realize is at one point, the Unified Wrestling Conglomerate, which is what they were called, was the only indie professional wrestling brand in Chicago. And it's often forgot about. And then, much like WWE with WrestleMania and all this stuff, the reason we know it is because they keep bringing it up and they keep reminding you of what it meant and what it was. And so this was a good opportunity to show the independent wrestling world what UWC meant to it at one point. And it was big, man. It got really big, as big as an indie fed can get at the time, because indie wrestling was completely dead for a good 3-4 years there. And one of the only survivors and one of the only lone entities was UWC. And it gave a lot of guys a lot of opportunity that never would have gotten it otherwise.
Did any big move up to the other, the ladder of the wrestling community?
Yeah, there's three people that come to mind instantly. One being Ivelisse Velez. She actually came from Puerto Rico, came down to Chicago, and after UWC, after she worked there for a while, she actually got onto WWE's Tough Enough program, and then FCW, which was their developmental, and she's worked a little bit in AEW all over the world as well. There's another gentleman by the name of, now his name is Mecha Wolf. He's the part of the NBA World Tag Team Champions. He's a world traveler as well, but back when he was working for UWC, he was Mr. 450 Hammett, because his favorite guitarist is Kirk Hammett, so he took that last name.
Okay.
And then there's another guy by the name of the Rebel, El Rebelde, and he came from Puerto Rico as well, came down here, and he just became a huge, huge star for Mexico. So he's always down there. So there's a lot of guys from there, and then there's a few other companies that sprung off. But I mean, there's a lot of guys that came around in that time that ended up being pretty big, including El Generico, who is Sami Zayn. Okay. In WWE, Kevin Owens, who was Kevin Steen, I think was his name, and now his name is Kevin Owens. Mm-hmm. And there's a whole host of other guys that are from Chicago right around that time that either were around UWC or they passed through it, and now they're in the big leagues.
That's cool. Another one, as I mentioned earlier, you're wearing hats. You're also a fellow, correct?
Yeah, I am. Yep. Yeah, man, I've gone down the path. Yeah, I've gone down the path of that, man. I started out with the Live to Win podcast back when I was a trainer. That's now defunct. I kind of got rid of it. But I moved on from there to talking about wrestling after I got convinced to do it, because I didn't want to. But I got convinced to do it, and I enjoyed it. It was cool to go back. It's called the Over AF Wrestling Podcast, and that's still going today. It's a retro podcast, so we've got a couple segments, right? We got about 5-10 minutes. We'll talk about what's over now. Being over is being popular. What's going on? So it's like what's over now is the first segment we go through, and then we'll review an old school pay-per-view from start to finish. And then after that, we have the Over AF video game of the week, where we talk about the, what was cool about this old school wrestling game that we liked. And then our final question to each other is, who was over AF at this event? And that's where we say, the breakout star, the person that was, had the biggest connection with the fans was Goldberg or Stone Cold or The Rock of that particular pay-per-view. So yeah, that one's called the Over AF Wrestling Podcast.
In the 70s, a lot of wrestling in the day. My grandpa, I watched wrestling all the time. Junkyard Dog, the Von Erichs, the Freebirds. I've always watched wrestling for a number of years. I haven't watched it in a while. I kind of Cold Steve Austin and The Rock, but it's always fun to watch. Just kind of flip back a while, and some guys have just made it big, and are just more Hogan and Andre the Giant.
That's right. That's right, man. I mean, it's crazy that, that's 2 generations ago, but when you talk to a lot of the general public, they're gonna flash back to the Attitude Era, which is what you just said, which was DX, Stone Cold Steve Austin, and The Rock. That was the last real lasting impression that pro wrestling made on the general public. So they haven't reached that kind of heights since then, but they're trying.
Site people can follow you and your musical career and your businesses. How go to hook with you?
Absolutely. So I'm not a trainer anymore. That ended. But I do have something that can help you out if you're looking to get trained. If you're looking to train yourself at home and so forth, which is called T-Cell Nutrition. I actually own a sports supplement company, and our tagline is "Train like a champion." And all of the things that made me, lose the weight and get pumped and get ripped like I did after my wrestling career ended, I use those same principles for T-Cell Nutrition. So that's tcellnutrition.com. You can also find us on Instagram at T-Cell Nutrition, as well as Twitter. And there's something nobody knows about, and I'm going to announce it here because it's a little secret thing that I opened up 70 something days ago. But there's a YouTube channel that I have called Thorn Theater. And I just got an email this morning from them saying, congratulations on 56,000 hours of watch time on your content. I was like, oh, wow. So, I did it. Everything I do, I advertise it. But this one, I just opened it up and did it real secretly. And I was like, let me see if this content takes off by itself. So if you want to see me review movies, I've got a channel called Thorn Theater. So look that up. You'll find me there. But in terms of my music career, whether it's Instagram, Twitter, or Facebook, it's Ultimate Thorn. And of course, you can find me on any popular music outlets such as Spotify, YouTube Music, iHeartRadio, Pandora. I'm on all of them under Alex Thorn. There is no other. And I love it, man. It's just, I'm so happy to be back to music. I wear a lot of hats. I do a lot of things, but music has always been my number one passion.
The opportunity to chat with you. I wish you nothing but all you do and the hats you wear, and who knows where you're here. It's been a privilege talking with you, and thank you very much, Mr.
Thank you, Jody. I appreciate it.
Take care of yourself.
Take care, brother.
This is my good friend Raymond Hayden's group, Strangely All Right, with Magic Skeleton.
Let me show you, let me show you, let me show my love. I don't want to lose you, baby. I don't want to lose. If you are right, I must be wrong. Our hearts rehearse the funeral song. Magic skeleton, yeah, yeah. I'm feeling restless. Magic skeleton, yeah, yeah. I'm feeling breathless. Yeah, 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 yeah. You're my magic skeleton. Yeah, 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 yeah. You're my magic skeleton.
That was Strangely Alright with Magic Skeleton. Pretty good song, huh? Check it out on YouTube.
Break for 30 seconds.
Are you craving some authentic, fresh Mexican food? I got two places for you. Are you ready? You got a pen and paper? One, Tequila Street. It's a mobile food truck located in Silverdale, Washington at 9571 Silverdale Way. They have some of the best breakfast burritos I've ever eaten. My favorite is the barbecued pulled pork burrito. They have other Mexican items as well, but breakfast burritos are amazing. You can reach them at 360-914-9152. That's Tequila Street. Also, at the Kitsap Mall in Silverdale, Washington, there's Tequila. There, they have over 5 kinds of tacos, burritos, chimichangas, and my favorite there, grilled jalapenos. Delicious. I know, I'm getting you hungry, right? Either Tequila Street or Tequila, and their number at the mall is 360-698-4335. Roberto and his staff are amazing. They're friendly, and their food is delicious. Come on by, check them out. That's Tequila Street at 9571 Silverdale Way in Silverdale, or Tequila at the Kitsap Mall in Silverdale. 360-698-4335. I'm telling you, they got some of the best Mexican food in Kitsap County. It's locally owned and operated and very, very good. See you there. Craving Donuts, Craving Fresh Made Daily Donuts, Lone Star Donuts. They have over 50 flavors. Sprinkles, no sprinkles, filled, not filled, chocolate, glazed, maple donuts with real bacon, cinnamon rolls. They are so good, so light, and so fluffy. These are not your normal donuts. These are Texas-style donuts. If you know what, been to Texas, nothing small in Texas. Go see my friends at Lone Star Donuts, now with 2 locations. One in Silverdale, Washington at 1087 Maury Place. Their phone number is 360-204-5021 in Silverdale, or Port Orchard at 2649 Mile Hill Drive. Their number there is 360-443-2600. You can find them on Facebook as well. Lone Star Donuts. Life is happier with donuts. Donuts from Lone Star Donuts. I am so excited about my upcoming guest. Next week, Sydney Irving. This is her hit song, You Can't Forget About Me.
Forget about me. God, we never said things we'd ever mean. Making hay by talking in poetry. All forever you had waited for me, and I die living up to what you thought I'd be. Well, don't pretend you don't remember me. We promised friends, one thing we'll never be. Still going on, sincere apologies, but however hard you try, you can't forget about me. You don't remember me. We promised friends, one thing we'll never be. Still going on, sincere apologies, but however hard you try, you can't forget about me.
Can't wait to talk to Sydney and get her story. And she is rocking the house, a very young artist. Can't wait. This is Chit Chat, the encouraging one other podcast. it's all about encouraging others.